All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Shots from the Winchester Podcast. We're here. Actually, we're flipping the tables today. We're not actually being interviewed. I'm not actually being interviewed. Lindsey's actually being interviewed by me today. We're going to be talking to Lindsey Foulk today. So let's start with a shot. That's typically what we do here in Shots in Winchester. So what kind of shot do you want to take today?
Yep. I mean, it's what? Let's see. What time are we at? It's like 10 in the morning.
10 o'clock.
Let's do top shelf Blanton's.
Blanton's.
Yes.
Blanton's, first thing in the morning, y'all.
Does Blanton's want to sponsor us?
Ooh, that's a good look. Look at that bottle. So I've never had Blanton's, but I hear it's top shelf.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Typically not something you do a shot of, so don't crucify us, okay? But yeah, this is and
that bottle looks legit too.
They all have different horses on the top.
Oh wow.
So people collect them, so it's very, very special.
That's really cool.
Yes.
All right. So
All right.
let's
to Greencastle, right?
Greencastle.
All right.
Here we go. Wow, that's nice.
Very nice. But
Wow.
as always, I gotta take a sip of water because my acid reflux.
You and me both. Wow, yeah.
We're showing our age here, Al.
I know, honestly, right? I already feel it happening, right? I'm like, okay, let's cool that down. All right, so first of all, let's talk about Greencastle. How did you get involved? How did you find Greencastle?
Yeah, funny story. So Greencastle actually found me. So I was working at a software company doing marketing, and I got a message on LinkedIn one day from one of our recruiters, and he was like, hey, we're hiring for a marketing director, or actually it said a marketing person. Let me know if you're interested. And I really wasn't looking for a job at the time. So I responded. I was like, yeah, I'm curious. I'm not really sure what this place is. Took a look online, and I was like, huh. Veteran owned and operated.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. Everybody's a veteran. Yep. Right down the road from me, Malvern. I was like, okay, I'm interested. So, had a couple interviews on the phone, then came in, and that was like the hook, right? Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker here. Come in, look at the bar and, all the really cool amenities we have in the office, meet all the really awesome people. And that's, that's how it started. Just 7 months ago. Wow, yes. Not that long ago.
Yeah, so as the marketing team is new here at Greencastle, but we're definitely making waves. We're definitely growing, especially and under Lindsey's leadership. That's another thing I want to talk to you about. You're the only female on the SLT right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Yeah, so I think last I checked, there might be 12 females total in the company, and that's, to give the audience context, I mean, that's really because you're pulling from a group of people who are, military, and that's widely men, largely men. Yeah. So that's why there's so few females here. Not that we don't want them, if you're out there and you're interested, send us a message, but... 1 of 12. Yeah. But yes, the only one on the SLT.
Nice. So another thing I wanted to ask you, so you do have the military background. So you chose something different. A lot of people, when they come out or they go into the military, they come out of high school or something like that. But you chose to go in a little later. You chose in your 30s. Like, what was the thought behind that?
Yeah, so I had spent most of my life, and I was like a full-blown adult at that point, 30 years old. I'd spent most of my life kind of doing social work and behavioral health work, so working with children and families really that needed counseling, that were struggling with like mental health issues. So I did that for a really long time, and I did love it, but it was very taxing, like emotionally, just very draining, and a lot of long hours. You're on call. So I decided that I needed a hard reset. And honestly, if you listen back to the Anthony Berg podcast, I did allude to this. I was sitting in front of my television one day, and like any good marketing campaign, there was a commercial on TV that said, hey, Army National Guard. And I was like, I'd always wanted to do that. My dad being a police officer growing up, I had always wanted to kind of serve in some way. And I thought maybe now's the time. So I reached out to somebody I knew who was in the Guard, who put me in touch with a recruiter. The recruiter thought I was crazy. He's like, 30, you have a master's degree and like a job and you're like a full adult and you're just like gonna, and I was like, I want to do it. I want to try something new. I want to do it before it's too late, because there's like obviously an age cutoff. So I enlisted and I went to basic training at the age of 30. And that was an experience.
That's awesome though. That's awesome that you thought in yourself from a commercial to go into the military. That's interesting. And you got a lot out of the military. How would you say the military's changed you from that point?
Yeah, really in a lot of ways. I'd say even at the age of 30, I mean, I was independent, obviously. Like, I was a full adult, paying bills, having a job. But I think the military makes you a little more independent in a different way. So I feel that it kind of made me a little more confident and independent. I'd say it refined the leadership skills that I think I had like a baseline of. So it refined them and really taught me how to be a servant leader. And I think I already mentioned it, but just being more confident, because they're pushing you, especially like in schools like basic training, or I went through OCS, they're pushing you to do things you're not sure you can do, and then you do them and you're like, oh, I did that. That's pretty cool. So it kind of builds that confidence of, I don't think I can do this. And then you do it and you're like, wow, actually I am capable. So
that makes sense. Like when I was in, I was thrown into a lot of leadership positions, leading the platoon or doing, whatever, leading the cleaning the latrine, whatever it is. But I was always in leadership positions. I never thought of myself as a leader in any way so much. But that taught me how to stand up for myself as well as stand up for others. So I feel like that's something that came from my military career as well. So that's pretty cool.
That's kind of like that independence piece too, right?
Absolutely
of like, becoming like a person, like a real, like full, well-rounded person.
Yeah,
right?
like a full person, full adult, right? Yeah. With the discipline. So there's other things that you've done that you do. That's really interesting. Maybe the audience doesn't know it, but you're a powerlifter. That's awesome. That's for one thing. Like when I found out that you were a powerlifter, I was just like, "That's badass. That is really badass." Can you tell us something about that? Like, how did you get involved with powerlifting?
Yeah. So I'm not going to say always, because in high school I was a high school cheerleader, which I mentioned in Anthony's podcast. If you probably heard that, but. After college, I had always kind of gone to the gym, and then I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks, and I worked all the way up to I did a couple full marathons, ran I think 5 or 6 half marathons.
Wow.
I then kind of jumped into doing obstacle course racing, so like Spartan races and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then after that, I decided I wanted to try CrossFit. So you can see the theme here is like, I get bored really easily with fitness related stuff. So I wanted the next challenge, and that's really how I am as a person. I like to have those challenges. So I was online scrolling through Instagram, and I was following a guy who, he was doing powerlifting. And I was like, I sent him a message. I'm like, what is this? I'm kind of interested. And so he explained it to me. And that's kind of how I got started. I had hired a coach just to kind of help me, put together some programming. I competed in my first meet, and then I let go of that coach, and I have the coach that I have now, who I've had for the past, I think, 3 years.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I got into it.
That's awesome. Like, so you just like when I go to the gym, I typically feel like there's a redundancy in that, and then I need something different. It's just like what you kind of like your progression and stuff like that. And just recently, my wife and I were looking at ninja gyms. And trying to do something different, instead of just lifting things up and putting them down. At Planet Fitness or someplace like that, So I was like, what else can we do, like that. So that's inspiring to see that you evolved your fitness in that way. But you also, not only did you do that, but you also went to the nationals.
Yes.
And that's also pretty recently too. So like, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I guess for anybody in the audience who doesn't know what powerlifting is, so you have 3 lifts that you do: squat, bench, and deadlift. And it's a little different than weightlifting, where you're doing the CrossFit style lifts. Right. But when you go to a powerlifting competition, you're competing in just those 3 lifts, and you get 3 attempts of each lift to do your heaviest lift. So, and you're only lifting singles, so only one rep, and then moving to the next lift. July 2019, I did my first meet, and it was just kind of getting used to like how that works. It's a very different type of competition than like going to a marathon where you just like go to the starting line and run. Like there's a lot of rules, there's judges kind of ensuring that you are lifting safely and properly, and making sure you're hitting depth on squats, and you have to lift on command that the judges will give you. So that was my first meet. It's just kind of learning the ropes, and it was very scary. But I left and I was like, I like this a lot. So I signed up for a couple more meets to just get some experience under my belt. Obviously, like I said, I had the new coach. Shout out to Colin Whitney. He's a veteran. He owns Power Build down in KOP and Conshohocken. So
nice. We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, he's a good guy, great gym. So I got some experience under my belt, and I thought, I think I want to try to qualify for nationals. In order to qualify, you have to hit a certain total number, meaning your heaviest 3 lifts added together is whatever total that is. You qualify or you don't. So I figured out what that number was, and I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. And I had actually, during the time I was prepping to qualify for nationals, I was nursing a back injury. It's a recurring theme. I was nursing a back injury at that point, and it was really difficult to stay motivated and keep showing up, even though my numbers weren't really moving a whole lot, and I wasn't putting on a lot of poundage to the lifts that I was doing. But nevertheless, I kind of finished my prep there, went and I qualified for nationals, and I was like, okay, now it's time to get serious. So I put in a lot of work during that prep. Actually had a really good prep, no injuries. I was healthy. It was great. And I went in May down to Atlanta, and nationals is it's huge. It's across, I think it's like 5 days worth of lifting, and powerlifting's by weight class. So you're lifting on whatever day it correlates with what weight class you're in.
Right.
So I think I was on day 2, and there's 3 platforms that people are lifting on at nationals, whereas normal competition, there's only 1 platform. So everybody's just watching that 1 platform. This is like huge ballroom, tons of people screaming and yelling. 3 platforms. There's lights. There's music. It's like it's really like a well-produced event. It's got a lot of sensory, right? Loud, weights banging all over the place. And I had no expectations except I wanted to just compete in nationals. At that point, I had not really thought like, oh, I'm going to make a run to like get on the podium or anything. Like I said, you have 3 lifts in each area. 3 areas means there's 9 opportunities for lifts. So I went actually 9 for 9, meaning I had 9 good lifts, which is really rare. They call that the unicorn event, or the unicorn, because you get all your lifts. At that point, I still wasn't sure if I had placed or not, because there were people lifting on different platforms and I couldn't track like who had what total or whatever was going on. And I was like, I'll just hang out for the awards. I wanted to see
what happens.
See what happens, And to kind of take a step back, I had hit an all-time best deadlift PR during that competition, like heaviest I've ever lifted, still to this day. And I had a couple state records too, which was really cool. So anyway, I'm waiting. They're calling up like people by weight classes, and I'm sitting there, and they call up they have my weight class, and they call up the 3rd place girl, and then the 2nd place, and then they said my name, and I like blacked out. Honestly, I was like, what? Oh my God. My husband was there, we're hugging, and then like my coach is high-fiving me, and I like run up, and I honestly, like, I think in moments like that, you like kind of black out, because you're like, oh my God, like somebody's putting the medal around my neck, and I'm like, I got pictures, I don't know what's going on. I texted my parents. But it was really cool. Like what an absolute high.
That's gotta be exhilarating. Especially like there's such a goal to achieve, and then to be accepted into nationals and then to win. I know powerlifting is like I don't want to call it a hobby.
I mean, it is in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's got some strength to it, and no pun intended. But I figure you have other things you like to do, hobbies, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, I feel like on the opposite end of that spectrum, I love like gardening and plants. You know, it kind of mellows me out a little bit. So I think I have 100 indoor plants or somewhere around there.
Nice.
You know, it's a lot of fun to take care of them and watch them grow and stuff like that. But my husband and I also, when it's not winter, we have an outdoor garden where we grow our own vegetables and stuff like that. I can't take a lot of credit for that because my husband has done, you know, all of the building and orchestrating and planting. I kind of help just, you know, tend to them. But I really love doing that. I feel like it, you know, for the intensity that powerlifting gives me, I need something to kind of balance me out because I can just be a very intense person in general. So I need something to kind of like mellow me out. And the plants and the gardening is kind of that for me.
It feels natural. It feels like you see martial artists, you know, they'll be clipping bonsai trees, you know, and like things like that. I think there's a natural like the yin yang, you know, you have to have your energy where you're releasing that energy, but you have to also have a way to like calm that energy and like bring it to focus and balance. So that makes sense. I love plants myself, whether it's spider plant or whatever like that. I know not everyone is great at growing plants. Some people are like, oh, I just kill plants.
I think you hear that a lot of people saying, oh, well, I kill plants.
Yeah.
But I will say there are a lot of really great apps out there that guide you through how to take care of your plant, will remind you when to water it, when to fertilize it.
Oh, that's good to know, yeah.
So Planta is what I use, and it'll like kind of have you input all your plants that you have. You tell the app where the plants are in your house and how much light they're getting. And if you don't know how much light a plant should get, the app will tell you. It'll say, oh, it should go in this room. It should be near a north-facing window or a south-facing window or get full sunlight, whatever it is. But it'll also guide you through when you need to like water the plants, when you need to fertilize. It'll give you tips for all different kinds of things. Like if your plant's not doing well, you can diagnose stuff through the app.
Oh,
it's really cool.
What's the name of the app again?
Planta.
Planta. All right, we'll put that in the description if you guys want to check that out. That's awesome. I'm going to look at that myself because like I have, I'm in one of those places that I don't have windows on the sides. So I only have my front and back to really give the plants life. So I put a lot of plants in the front and some in the back to just kind of give them some life and everything like that. But it would be great to have an app that says, this is where it is. What do I do?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty brilliant, honestly.
One other thing I wanted to get into with you before we close this thing down is charities, things like that. We're getting into the holidays at this point, and we're looking at donating things like that. And one of the things that I like to do is I go to the post office and I get the letters that they have at the post office for people that are looking for things to give to their kids or things like that. And I like to donate, like buy diapers, things like that, and donate that kind of stuff over the holiday season for people like that. But you have your own thing that you like to donate to.
Yeah, so it's called the Order of the Purple Heart. You've probably heard of, a lot of people have heard of that, but you can Google it or we can link it, obviously.
Yeah.
So you go to the website and you can schedule a time for them to come pick up clothing, home goods, all different kinds of things. They have a list on the website of what they'll accept.
Nice.
And they will come to your house and pick it up for you. You don't even need to take it anywhere.
That's
and
awesome.
That goes straight to veterans, which I think is really great, especially this time of year. You know, we need to take care of our veterans who might not have, you know, what they need. And so I think that's really important. And it just makes it really easy to be able to, you know, go to the website, say, yeah, you're going to be picking up, you know, 3 to 6 bags are going to be right in front of my garage. Here's the, you know, come pick them up on this date, and they'll come and pick them up, and you don't need to do anything. If you don't like talking to people, this is the perfect charity for it, because you just leave your stuff and they'll pick it up for you.
That's awesome.
And it goes to a great cause, so.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this holiday season, if you guys looking for something to support, we have a couple options there for you, you know? Check it out. So to close things out, you're on Instagram?
I am
LinkedIn.
on Instagram. Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't think you give people your Facebook. I think that's not a thing.
Facebook. Yeah.
But L Foulk 423. I haven't been posting that much on my Instagram because I'm doing marketing here, so this Instagram is my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Instagram, and then LinkedIn is Lindsey Foulk. Yeah, for sure, reach out, especially if you're a female looking for a job. Like
Absolutely.
I said, you know, we're always looking to hire good people. Yeah.
Yeah. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Instagram channel, Greencastle Consulting. Also, we're on YouTube, so this is the YouTube channel. But if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can also watch this on YouTube. So check that out.
Yeah. Can I leave everybody with one like little tidbit here before we go?
Of course.
Okay. So I want to speak to specifically, I know we don't have a lot of females in our viewership, listenership. I'm not sure what it would be. Listeners, viewers, whatever. You know, I want females to advocate for themselves at work, to step up and take the leadership roles. I want them to speak up in meetings and never stop doing that. I think that's really important. And I think depending on what age group you're in, you know, like for us, like, you know, it was not really like that growing up as much. Like, you know, females were teachers, they were nurses, but like they weren't as much stepping into those leadership roles, and they were still towing the line of, when do I speak up versus not? And I would say there's never a bad time to speak up in those meetings and give your ideas, you know, and advocate for yourself that you want the raise, you want the promotion. I think that stuff is just so important for females. And I don't want people to be offended that I say females. I say females because military, they call you females.
Yes,
so I've always said that. And now that I'm, you know, working here, it's just, that's how it is. So it's not, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but, you know, I want women to do that and to advocate for themselves, because I truly believe that women can be really great leaders and can be, you know, are just so smart and capable, but sometimes are a little afraid or intimidated to do that. And additionally are afraid to step into the weight room. Don't be afraid to step into the weight room. That's that's the other advice I give to the ladies, you know. Get in there and lift some weights. You know, don't let the men intimidate you.
Don't let the intimidation. Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. Especially, I think a lot of women, young women, what have you, need to hear that, especially from somebody in your position. You're in a supervising position. Thank you so much for saying that. And hopefully, ladies out there, if you're listening to this, you take something from that, and you strive for something in your career. So that's great. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. And like and subscribe to our channel, please. Comment. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on Facebook. That's where I will mention Facebook. It's Greencastle Consulting across the board. Actually, I think Facebook might be Greencastle Associates Consulting. Either way, it's the same people. Please follow us. Please comment. Please, like, we push out great content.
Absolutely.
We push out, you know, like really cool events that we have here, like happy hours. We have Vet Fest that we do. So follow us so you can come and hang out, because we would love that. You can come see our bar.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on, of course, and talking and chatting with us today.
It was fun.
Yeah. All right.
All right.